What's happening there, guys, and welcome back to NBA Reloaded. America is also well known for some exclusive sports that it plays exceptionally well, which includes basketball. For years, America has been one of the finest basketball teams in the world thanks to their rising talents in the NBA. Every individual associated with the sport has memories that they can't forget. Today, we're here to look at 10 NBA impossible moments. Brace yourselves because there's a lot we have here. Now let's get on with the video. Number 10, sitting on the edge. The phrase patience is key has no place in the NBA. There's limited time, so the teams keep pushing to accumulate as many points as they can. But sometimes, a single play can require a player's patience of a lifetime. While the Pistons were playing against the Orlando Magic, Luke Kennard tested the patience of everybody watching the match. His shot landed right on the basket, and the ball didn't slip away. Instead, it bounced on the rail a few times. While everybody looked above them to see if it would come down through the hoop or not, it sat there for a few seconds. The ball then managed to slide down the hoop, giving the Pistons important points.
Coaches this year won't put him on there.
Number 9, out of bounds, point secured. Scoring half-court shots might look easy when you try something that isn't inside the playing boundaries even. There are very few instances where players were able to score points while standing out of bounds. Jay Crowder is one of the few people who's proud to achieve that milestone. Receiving the ball right from the referee, the Celtics player had a go at it from the spot. It seemed like such a wild shot, but his teammate had managed to get right under the backboard to receive and dunk it as soon as possible. But the ball went in without his interference, and Jay's shot made the audience go wild.
Brad drew it up.
Number 8, skill defending. It's easy to show your skills when you're running down the opponent's court. It's a lot for them to handle while they're thinking about your next move. It takes a lot to showboat your skills as best as you can while you're defending at such a critical point in your court. We'll need some classes from Chris Stapps about how he did such an amazing trick. The Brooklyn Nets were leading against the Knicks by 10 points, but they didn't stop pushing. They were so far down the court that the ball was just inches away from the hoop. Porzingis stepped in to defend against the shot, and he did so in the classiest way possible. He stole the ball and managed to whirl it back, and as he landed on his feet, he passed the ball forward and thus began the counterattack. Number 7, Miles goes all the way. Teamwork makes the dream work. Who hasn't heard of this line? A lot of people apparently, including Miles Bridges. In one match, he did everything to make sure that his teammates watched from behind as he went on to score all on his own. Miles started by dribbling past one defender. He then encountered another guard who almost managed to steal his ball. Miles defended against him and then hopped the ball over to get past another opponent. As Miles won possession again, he was standing right next to the basket, and he took the chance. An impressive showing indeed.
Daniels back in. Bridges drives, climbs, took it away from him.
Number 6, sorcery. We have no idea what to say about this moment. All we know is that when a player attempted a shot, the referee's whistle blew. Enraged, the player grabbed the ball tightly, but the ball just seemed to disappear within seconds of his handling. It's such a confusing moment that we can't wrap our heads around. Even after slowing down the footage, it seems like there's no impression of the ball's whereabouts. It's one of the few moments that might seem spooky.
Westbrook able to get inside again.
Number 5, bringing the board down. Back in the olden days, a lot of players managed to bring the backboard down. Bringing such a heavy structure down with so much force didn't seem like a big problem for such well-built players. Nowadays, everybody is careful with these boards as they're so important in the game, and it only halters the match for unnecessary durations. But when it used to happen, a player from the Orlando team hit himself on the head while he dunked and tore down the backboard. He hung on the rail with such strength that he brought down the entire structure with him. While he rested on the bench, his teammates assured that the backboard would be replaced soon. Number 4, a classic half court. Half courts are nothing new to basketball, but if we're talking about half court shots, it's unfair if we don't mention Devin Harris's name. When the Nets were up against the 76ers, it looked like a lost cause. They were down by a single point and the game was almost over, but then the Nets player stepped up. Devin Harris managed to create space by battling an opponent and getting the ball. From half court, Devin Harris sent the ball flying into the net to win the game for the Nets. All of his teammates raised their hands up with joy as they managed to take the lead away.
To Harris. Harris thought he was fouled. Harris scores!
Number 3, lucky control. Kevin Durant is one of the biggest legends of the NBA. He's known for doing his job like none other. The man is all set to replace some of the biggest names in the league to become the true greatest player of all time. KD has a reputation for doing something incredible every now and then, and during his time at the Brooklyn Nets, he showed everyone just how good and lucky he was. The Nets player started running with the ball in his hands from his own court. There's nothing like Kevin Durant running past you, making a nice play. But as he tried to dribble away from a player by throwing it up, he managed to put it high enough to lose it. Fortunately, he managed to take possession again with his head. While the opponents tried to call for a foul, Kevin had already passed it, and the outcome was a two-pointer.
This is coming off of Kevin Durant's head. Looking like the...
Number 2, an ingenious pass. Steph Curry is becoming such a menace in the NBA. Whatever team he plays for, he instantly becomes a nightmare for his rivals. His stats in the league are too good, and few players have been able to replicate Curry in one match, let alone an entire season. He's quickly becoming the undisputed king of the court. And if you don't believe it, you might want to take a look at the pass he made while he was playing for the Nets. With just a good bounce, he was able to tackle an opponent and pass the ball to his teammate, who managed to score without wasting any time. The incredible pass shows the genius side of Curry and how well he's doing with such little effort on the court.
Here's Curry with a high bounce.
Number 1, the grandma shot. Our list has some great plays from the league. It's hard to choose from a long list of instances where ridiculous plays were meant to wow everybody with their outcome. There are a lot of incredible moments that we've covered, but how is it possible that we don't share the tale of the grandma shot from Trevor Booker? The Jazz player did it so spontaneously that even the commentators were left bewildered for a second. It was such an unnecessary move that still managed to do the job. The Jazz player received the ball when he wasn't facing the basket. Randomly guessing, Booker lifted the ball up without handling it in an attempt to score. The ball went in, and since then, this shot has been known as the grandma shot.
Booker got it. Are you kidding me?
Basketball is definitely fierce, yet it's one of the most enjoyable games where there's no chance of any dull moment ever happening. Over the years, the talented players of the NBA have given us so many memorable moments. In today's video, we're remembering 10 NBA smart moments that'll never be forgotten, so let's get started. Number 10, Kobe Bryant's 81 points. The late Kobe Bryant, also known as the Black Mamba, is considered one of the fiercest gamers in the NBA because of his extreme level of competition, and no other team has known this better than the ones who dared to play against him. There are so many unforgettable and smart moments he gave to the athletic world that it would be difficult to talk about every one of them in this video. The defining moment of the late great player was his 81-point showcase during the 2016 playoff. The game was really perfect, in which he attempted 46 shots and went 18-20 starting from the free throw line. It's often considered the luckiest playoff of his life because it's not every day you see someone score 81 points in just a single game. Moreover, it's been said that it's the second most points he scored in a game in NBA history, only behind Wilt's 100.
Still 6.5 to play in the third. He pulls up for a three. Yes! Kobe again.
When he gets it going like that.
Number 9, Jason Williams in the 2000 rookie game. Jason Williams is not remembered for his great pass turnover ratio, but he's actually recognized for his incredible passes that would remind you of the legendary professional basketball players such as Pete Maravich and Magic Johnson. Because of his excellent and out-of-this-world skills to handle the ball on the field, he was given the title White Chocolate. During the rookie game of 2000, there was an unforgettable White Chocolate moment when he was about to get a fast break with the team members on both sides. According to the sources, it appeared that he was going to pass it to his right with a nifty behind-the-back pass, but instead used his elbow to hit the ball to his left to a streaking LaFrance who was fouled as he went for a dunk.
This is a wide open affair. What can we expect from you today?
I don't know, you just gotta keep your eyes open. Don't go to the concession stands till halftime.
Number 8, King James LeBron James. LeBron James, also known as King James, is a one-of-a-kind player. In his more than 7 years in the league, the player has acquired enough achievements that would make the players who are playing against him really nervous. The player has 2 MVP awards and countless other honorary awards to his name. His 2007 playoff against the Detroit Pistons could undeniably be considered one of the greatest playoffs of his career, during which James decided to take the game into his own hands. He not only led his team to victory by hitting the game-winning layup in double overtime, but what is surprising is that he already acquired the last 25 points for the team. To understand it better, let us tell you that most teams are not able to score 25 points in a quarter, but King James managed to score a whole quarter's points on his own. That was really the moment.
LeBron James to me is easily a top 5 player of all time.
Number 7, Ray Allen's sharpshooting in 2013. During the 2013 NBA Finals, fans of the Miami Heat were definitely holding their breaths as the match almost got out of hand. The players who were in the spotlight were LeBron James, Ray Allen, and Chris Bosh. Even though LeBron James is considered one of the greatest players of all time, in the 2013 match, he wouldn't have done anything without the help of Chris Bosh and, more importantly, Ray Allen. As they were losing by 3 and there were only 15 seconds left, King James unfortunately missed a rebound and also a three-pointer. Ouch. This would have granted San Antonio Spurs the victory, but Bosh received the ball and passed it to the greatest sharpshooter, who then made a great three-pointer which sent the game to a 5-minute overtime. In the overtime, the Miami Heat won, making it one of the highly contested playoffs.
103-100, and they force a Game 7. What a game.
Number 6, Michael Jordan's The Shot in 1989. The greatest NBA player of all time, Michael Jordan, has plenty of smart moments that are worth remembering, that if this whole video was about them, then even that wouldn't be enough. But since we have to pick only one moment, we've picked his iconic shot over Craig Elo during the playoff of 1989 between the Chicago Bulls and the Cleveland Cavaliers. When there were only 2 seconds left and Jordan was getting attacked by Larry Nance and the tension was rising, he somehow managed to get himself free, and in the next moment, Jordan jumped over the head of Craig Elo, marking that iconic moment. What's even interesting is that that exact moment was also the most iconic moment of Craig Elo's career. What's even more worth remembering is the way Jordan celebrated his victory, jumping and soaring high in the air, which is also very symbolic of his career.
Jordan with 2 seconds to go, puts it up.
Number 5, Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point achievement. It was a remarkable moment during a playoff between the Philadelphia Warriors and the new emerging York Knicks when the Philadelphia Warriors' player Wilt Chamberlain stunned everyone by breaking a triple-digit record. You should know that Wilt Chamberlain is known by individual accomplishments over team accomplishments, which was evident during his playoff as he outmatched everyone that day. The picture of Wilt Chamberlain holding a fragment of paper with the number 100 written all over it has been added to the golden history of the National Basketball Association and the rest of the sporting world.
In a game in which Wilt Chamberlain threw in 36 field goals, 28 fouls for a total of 100 points.
Number 4, Magic Johnson's magic. Magic Johnson is definitely known as the greatest NBA passer of all time. With a 6'9" height, he's able to enjoy a lot of perks, which include shooting over the other guards and being able to see the spots on the court that no other point guards can see. In one of his jaw-dropping playoffs, as the commentator exclaims, it appears both teams are stepping up their offense and defense. Johnson takes a lazy handoff from James Worthy and bullets a bounce pass in between two different opponents' legs and gets it to an open teammate for an easy dunk. Whoa. It was competition like this that revealed the true magic of Magic Johnson, as he proved that he is in fact the greatest passer of all time.
Maybe the play of the year, and it had to be culminated by that fantastic slam dunk by Scott.
Number 3, Dwayne Wade's great strategy. Dwayne Wade is that player who can turn the entire tide of the game when needed the most. He can do everything from scoring and rebounding to excellently passing using his great strategies on the spot. Do you know that he's known as the best shot blocking guard to play the game after setting the record for blocks in a season by a player 6'4" or under? This was the play when he had to put his excellent blocking skills to display along with his shooting ability from the foul line of the opponents to get the plays tied in his team's favor. Before the buzzer for the third quarter was rung, Amari Stoudemire appeared to get an easy shot. In that moment, Wade blocked his shot and got his team, the Miami Heat, 3 more points. This was the most electrifying moment in the career of Dwayne Wade and in the history of the NBA.
Wade puts it up for the win! Yeah, baby! He did it! Dwayne Wade!
Number 2, Ralph Sampson's last second shot. Ralph Sampson, the former professional basketball player, is known for hitting the miracle shot in the history of the NBA in 1986. As the clock kept ticking till there's only 1 second left, only a miracle could have made the Houston Rockets win against the Los Angeles Lakers. In that decisive moment, Ralph Sampson made a smart move that turned into the most miraculous moment in NBA history. As Sampson's back was to the basket, he caught the basketball, soared up in the air, and put the ball through the net. That shot easily marked the highest point in Sampson's career.
1 second on the clock. Sampson.
Number 1, Steph Curry's 2016 win. In 2016, during the match between the Golden State Warriors and Portland Trail Blazers, the MVP award winner Steph Curry proved his great value to his team, the Golden State Warriors. The point guard didn't perform during the first 3 rounds due to his injury. However, when he returned for the 4th round, he absolutely annihilated everyone that got in his way. During Game 4, the player scored 40 points against the Blazers and set the record of 17 points during overtime. Curry, through his brilliant shot in the last minute, took the win for his team, which left everyone, even Portland's Paul Allen, really confused. The player's shocked face even became an internet meme. I mean, he was rightly confused, wasn't he? The NBA has some of the best players in the world playing in it, but even they can sometimes be faced with embarrassing moments. In this video, we're taking a look at the 20 most embarrassing moments in the NBA. But before we get started, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our future videos going forward. Number 20, Brandon Knight stumbles. There are many skilled players in the NBA that can move so quickly that it dizzies the player in front of them. That's exactly what happened to Brandon Knight, who was so involved in tracking the ball that he lost his footing and stumbled to the floor. Number 19, stalling the game. Playing dirty in the NBA is not a new thing by any means, but for a coach to get involved, now that's new. In a game that was about to end, Jason Kidd told one of his players to spill his drink on him. This resulted in the game having to pause for a few minutes, which got them some extra few minutes to think of a plan.
Plenty of time to push in transition, just over 8 seconds remaining. Let's have no timeouts remaining.
Number 18, failing to defend. Brandon Knight had a very unlucky streak of failing to block some shots, and one such fail resulted in a player actually using his body to throw the ball into the hoop. It was a very embarrassing moment for Brandon indeed. Number 17, saying embarrassing things. Tim Hardaway Sr. was considered to be a pretty great player, but that was until something that he said was revealed online. He had said some pretty negative things about gay people, which didn't sit right with a lot of people.
Rebound fought for. Hardaway drives, scoop layup, it's good, and the foul.
Number 16, cheating in the stats. Some people often fail to pass their stats which are necessary to play college basketball, and one such player was Derrick Rose. After failing, he got someone to give them for him and passed. This would go undiscovered until years later. Number 15, turning down a big deal. These days, players in the NBA get multi-million-dollar deals like it's nothing. One such offer came to Dennis Schroeder, who then proceeded to turn it down for the sake of some other potential offers that might come his way. He turned down a $70 million offer and only ended up getting $5 million for his next one.
And it's unfinished business.
Number 14, missing a handshake. Players often celebrate small points by clapping their hands with one another, but it turns into a wholly embarrassing moment when they fail to do so. This is what happened between Kevin Love and Wesley Johnson.
Scott Skiles drew up a play for Larry Sanders. It was a little backdoor cut. It was a back screen, backdoor cut, lob pass from...
Number 13, smacking yourself with the ball. Players often try to release some of their frustration on the court by bouncing the ball really hard on the floor. Well, James Harden did something similar, but instead of the ball bouncing off, it came screaming back into his face. He was just stunned by what had happened.
And Josh Hart has to worry about the contact. Hart just lost the man. And then put it in.
Number 12, lying to reporters. Dwight Howard once had a very infamous interview in which he lied to a bunch of reporters about wanting to have someone fired from his team. Even after he was caught lying, he continued doing so with a straight face.
We have at least one person here who has an issue with their boss and doesn't.
Number 11, waiting on the court. There are certain moments on the court where a player is sure that their action is going to be contested one way or another. This is what James Harden thought as well when Wesley Johnson fell over trying to interfere with his play. Well, James just stood there waiting for someone to argue with his action. Number 10, Michael Jordan's speech. When Michael Jordan finally got the honor of being inducted into the Hall of Fame, he took the time he had to badmouth a lot of people in his life instead of thanking them like any other player would be expected to do so. Number 9, photo being leaked. Once, Greg Oden's private photo leaked online. Instead of simply acknowledging that it had happened, he had to stand in front of a bunch of reporters and explain himself over and over again. Poor dude. Number 8, falling short of being tall. The NBA is known to have some of the tallest players in any sport, and one such player is Anthony Davis. He once tried to get the ball back from Boban Marjanovic, who was even taller than him, and after trying 2 times, he failed to do so due to the height difference.
But then came back. AD on the reverse. How about that lob boogie to AD?
Number 7, missing a golden opportunity. Steph Curry is considered to be one of the best players in the NBA, but even he has had a few tumbles in his career. There was the time when he seemingly had the entire court free for himself, and as he ran to the hoop to dunk the ball, he ended up slipping and failing to make the shot.
There's Curry. He stops.
Number 6, embarrassing celebration. Nate Robinson once faced a very embarrassing celebration due to the fact that when he went ahead and started to celebrate with his teammate, the other guy completely ignored him. This resulted in him jumping over his teammate's body and falling to the floor. Number 5, fumbling a pass. Once, Steph Curry had the ball in his hands and looked as if he was about to shoot a three-pointer. His teammate was standing beside him, and he threw up 3 fingers to indicate the points that were about to be scored. Steph instead took that as a sign that he had to pass the ball and ended up throwing it onto the player's back. Number 4, early celebrations. Throwing the basketball at the hoop doesn't solidify the fact that it's going to go into the hoop, but there are some players that are overwhelmingly sure of their skills. One such player is Nick Young, who, after seeing the ball had entered the rim of the hoop, started to celebrate, but just a few seconds later, the ball simply spun out of the hoop and he looked pretty embarrassed. Number 3, turning away. Sometimes it pays to be sure. This is one line that a lot of NBA players should cement into their minds. Once, in a game, Kemba Walker threw the ball towards the hoop, saw that it was going in, and turned around and started to dance to celebrate the point he believed he scored, but as it turned out, the ball didn't go in, and the expression of him celebrating as his ball fell out of the hoop is forever etched into NBA history. Number 2, letting loose on the court. In a now infamous game, an NBA player actually fell down on the court while trying to defend against the ball being dunked, and as a result, some bodily fluids came out of him. After this embarrassment, he was carried off the court. Number 1, dunk of frustration. NBA players should remember one important thing, which is that they should never try to dunk the ball when they're frustrated. This was attempted by Carmelo Anthony, who tried to dunk the ball in frustration, but ended up hilariously falling short of his goal. So these were the 20 most embarrassing moments in the NBA. As the game continues being played, more moments like these will continue to be produced. If you know of any more embarrassing NBA moments, do share them with us in the comments down below. The NBA is filled with players that can burst with emotion at any given moment, but that emotion is often brought out by others on the court. In this video, we're taking a look at the 10 disrespectful moments in the NBA. But as usual, before we get started, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our future videos going forward. Number 10, trash talking. Ben Simmons is one player that isn't afraid to say things like they are. He has more often than not been outspoken about how he's feeling, and he displayed the same emotion during one such NBA game. He had just collided with another player, and he just didn't have enough patience that day. Ben said to the other player that he was saying a lot of things even though he was a bad player. He didn't say it in that manner, but his words were a bit harsher.
I just feel better when he's in the building.
Number 9, stunning crossover. There are many players in the NBA that shine because of their skills more so than their stats. One such player is James Harden. He had been playing in the NBA for a long time and has picked up many different tricks to display on the court. One such trick is his crossover, which he once executed to perfection. When he did so, it caused the defending player to fall on the court. But this wasn't even the most disrespectful moment, because after the player had fallen, James stood there and watched him being humiliated. He stood there for what seemed like a very long time. Maybe he thought that his crossover was a bit too much and that he was going to be fouled. Only after he saw an opposing player running towards him that he moved to throw the ball towards the hoop, which ended up perfectly going in.
Stared at him for a few seconds. My goodness.
Number 8, laughing at players. While many of the fights in the NBA are really scary to watch, J.R. Smith made a fight a completely hilarious affair. After a very brutal tackle from a fellow player, he was seriously angry, and immediately a fight broke out on the court. But after a few pushes from other players, he just completely changed tune and started widely smiling at the opposing players. This infuriated the players to no end, and the fight even escalated a bit before it was broken up. He figured, quite correctly, that smiling at the other team would make them madder than his opposition would.
Smart. This is preseason. Wow.
Number 7, celebrating a win. Steph Curry is known by many as one of the best players on the court. He's made a name for himself due to his skills at shooting. He has shown time and time again that he can win a game in the very last minutes with his immense skills. He once again showed that with his win against OKC. There were only 10 seconds left on the clock, and both teams were tied. After a bit of passing, the ball eventually ended up in the hands of Steph Curry. He initially started running towards the hoop, but saw that he had less than 5 seconds left. After a split-second calculation in his mind, he threw the ball from a long way away, and miraculously, it ended up in the hoop. His single throw ended up winning his team the game, and then he proceeded to celebrate his accomplishment in front of everyone.
Brother? Yes, sir! Yes, I'm so happy for you, boy. All that work, baby. What's up, champ? Right place, baby.
Number 6, LeBron's dunk. One of the most disrespectful things one can do on the court is dunking on someone, and LeBron James seems to have mastered doing just that. He's been known to show no mercy on the court, and this shows time and time again. This particular behavior of his was on full display when he fantastically dunked on a player. After doing so, the player had fallen to the ground and was lying there. However, though, LeBron stepped up to him and stared at him full of disrespect before backing away.
Lay it up there. Watch this.
Number 5. Jared Dudley's flex. Some players don't often score that many points, but when they do so, they make sure that people around them know about it. One such player was Jared Dudley. Although he's no longer playing in the NBA, he's still in charge of coaching the new generation. During his time as a player, he disrespected an entire stadium full of fans when he scored a stunning three-pointer. After doing so, he simply spread his arms out as if to say, "Bring it on."
The three by Dudley. Oh, now he put it.
Number 4. Staring down a fallen player. Basketball might seem like a fun game at times, but when it comes to it, it can be quite brutal as well. Players often collide with one another at high speeds and in mid-air, which can result in some bruises. Due to all this, players can become quite immune to people having brutal tumbles. Such a thing happened with Marcus Morris when he successfully saved a point from being scored by the other team. By doing this, an opposing player fell to the ground and rolled into the crowd. Marcus then went up to him and stared at him before backing away. That simple stare didn't sit well with the other player, and a huge fight eventually broke out.
Nance, he said something to him. Nance waited a bit, then when he got up.
Number 3. Tackling on the court. One major difference between basketball and football is that there are less tackles in basketball. So whenever a player runs up to another and pushes them, it's always a very shocking moment for everyone involved. This is exactly what one player had to deal with. We are, of course, talking about Ricky Rubio. After he was tackled to the ground, he couldn't even believe what happened to him. He just got up and walked away in disbelief. The player that had done the tackle was taken to the locker room as expected.
Ricky says, I thought he was saying I'm okay.
Number 2. Instigating a fight. Whenever a fight happens in the NBA, there's always a valid reason behind it happening. This reason can be anything, like dunking on someone or tackling someone. But there are some very rare moments in the NBA where nothing like that happens, and yet a fight still breaks out. This is what happened when Chris Paul was going about trying to pick up the basketball from the floor of the court. A player from the opposing team came up to the guy and pushed him for no reason. Chris Paul didn't even have the time to respond before a member from his team had his back. That teammate ended up pushing the guy that pushed Chris Paul in the first place. This strange turn of events ended up starting a fight in the middle of the court, which seemingly had no reason for happening at all.
Oh, what? I mean...
Number 1. Fantastic movement. Doing a crossover is one of those things where it's full of disrespect no matter where and when you do it. There's one player that's been known to show this kind of disrespect over and over again, and that player is Allen Iverson. Anytime he had the ball, you could be sure that something magical was about to happen. He was extremely quick on his feet and had a style unlike any other. One time, he performed a crossover in front of Tyrone Lue, and after he had been stunned, Allen simply shot the ball into the hoop. But that isn't where the disrespect ended. After checking that the ball really went into the hoop, he stepped over Tyrone Lue's body, who had fallen to the ground due to Allen's stunning throw. All that combined makes this one of the most disrespectful things to have happened on the basketball court. These were 10 disrespectful moments in the NBA. There are many more of such moments, and each game that's played presents a ton more for us to talk about. This about wraps up our video, guys. So what do you thought about these? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed the video, then let us know by leaving a like, and if you haven't done so already, then be sure that you're subscribed to our channel and have that bell icon pressed so you can catch up on more videos like this going forward. So until next time, take care and goodbye.